Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to show you how to put your static website on the internet, both with source control and with hosting. Now, we did quite a bit of work. We learned HTML throughout this exercise. And I mean, it may not be a website that looks like other websites out there, but it is still our creation. We came from a point of not knowing anything, just seeing websites. And we came to a point where we actually have learned the syntax. We've learned how to get lists, how to put text on our website, how to put links on our website, images. We have a grasp of the containers and the divs, how to lay out a page. We went to the About Us page and we put in a table, and we see that we can put a table with, columns, 2 columns and a few rows versus a few columns and a few rows. We can manipulate it as we wish. We put on a contact us form, right? And we laid it out the way we want. So we have gotten to a point where we should have a basic understanding of the syntax and the different things that we can do. Now that we're finished with our creation, we want this to be on the internet so we can share it with the world, whether the world can stumble upon it or we can share it with our friends, whatever it is. And so that's what this video is about. So we would have started this journey by signing up for GitHub. And if you didn't already do it, then I'll just quickly walk you through that. So you can go to github.com, which is our source control management studio, all right, or source control management application. So here we will be adding the website to what we call a bucket. And then once it's in this bucket, it can track all the changes that we need to make, right? And then we will also be deploying to our website called Netlify, which is one of the best static website hosting platforms out there. All right, so if you haven't already created accounts, you can just go to github.com and sign up. It's a pretty simple sign up process. And you can also go to Netlify and sign up. It's also pretty simple. And then you want to get desktop.github.com. All right, so go to desktop.github.com and then download the GitHub desktop for Windows or whatever operating system it is that you're using. I do have installation guides, or at least account setup guides, for both GitHub and for the desktop application, so you can check out those videos, but I'm just going to press ahead and go with what we need to do to get our website up on GitHub and then onto Netlify. So we have our website, and I'm actually going to go to the folder this time. And a quick way to get to the folder is from Visual Studio Code. You can right click in your Explorer pane and then just say Reveal in Explorer. And that will actually bring up a desktop, well, the Explorer, the Windows Explorer representation of your website file. So you see that each HTML file, it will have the default browser's icon beside it. And this is pretty much our folder structure. All right, so what we want to do is we want to open up our GitHub for desktop. So mine may look differently because I have been working on a few projects. I'm going to have a number of projects open and so on, but yours may not look this way. It's no problem. But what we want to do is go to File and say Add Local Repository. All right. And then when we do that, we want to browse to where the repository is. So our local repository is the path of our website. So whatever folder it is that you have been using to build this website up until now, you want to browse to there. So I can easily actually just copy the path from the Windows Explorer instead of trying to browse and find it. And I can just paste it here as a repository path. Now, after putting in that path, it's going to warn you and it's going to say, this directory does not appear to be a Git repository. Would you like to create a repository here instead? So you just click Create a Repository, and then it will bring up this screen. That's fine. You don't have to change anything there. You just click Create Repository. Now, if you looked in the file system, you would actually see that you got some new files. You got this .git attributes and .git folder. If you don't see these, then maybe you can just go to, if you're using Windows 10, I believe you can probably just go to View and click Hidden Items, right? So by turning on Hidden Items, then you would see exactly what I'm seeing All right. So the point is that it added some files that are Git files. Now this is a repository. So now you're tracking the changes that you make to your files, or Git is tracking the changes that you're making to your files. But then the advantage of this now is that using GitHub Desktop, you created a local Git repository just now, but they're asking, would you like to publish your repository to GitHub? So when you open the application, you would have signed in with whatever credentials you'd have used to create your GitHub account. And so when you say publish repository, they are saying, would you like to publish your repository to your account on github.com? Now, at this point, I can choose a name. So I can leave it as my personal website, and I leave it as that so that when you go on to my profile, you can actually access my thing. All the codes are associated with what I've done here. You'll see this tick that says keep code private or not. So I don't want it private because I want anybody to be able to access the code that I'm about to share on the source control platform. That being said, if it is a private project that you're working on, your actual personal website that you don't want everybody to have access to, then you can click keep this code private. But for educational purposes, you can leave it open, and it's a good way to market yourself and show others your skills and actually build a profile or a portfolio to show to others. All right. So I'm going to click publish repository, and then this may take a few moments. It's just taking all of the source that I have on my computer, and it is creating a bucket for it on GitHub, and then pushing it there and then synchronizing. And you see it's doing a few things in the background. But when all of those activities are done, I can actually go back to GitHub. And then if I go to my profile, so this is my landing page, you can see I have quite a few repositories. I'll click show more. You may not or will not have as many as I do if this is your first time, but don't be deterred by that. But when I do refresh, or rather, when I go to my repositories, I just click my avatar and go to your repositories. Then I see my newly created repository that was updated 1 minute ago. That was nice and simple, wasn't it? Right? So now I have my personal website up on GitHub. And let me just show you one of the scenarios when I say it tracks changes. So if I go into the repository, I'm going to see all of the files that were on my file system inside of my folder. All right. And then let us say, and then it tells us the initial commit. So this is a commit message where they're saying, okay, this is the first commit that you made. This is the first time you added anything to this repository. But I mean, I'm making changes. I'm still developing a website. I may be putting a new file, or I went back and changed a spelling error. So let's say on the post contact page, I realized I needed another bit of text. Let's say I put in an H3 tag underneath this one, and I'm going to give it the same class so that it is center title. So I'm going to use the class again, center title, and then I'm going to say, we will contact you soon. All right. So this modification will manifest itself on my actual page. So when I go to contact us, and I submit the form, then there's that new sentence that I just put in. So this is a change. Now, I have the change on my computer. I want to synchronize it with GitHub. And the advantage to that is if my computer crashes, then GitHub still has my source control, my source, right? So that's a point, one of the advantages of source control again. So I want to make sure that GitHub now has the latest version of this file. So if I go to GitHub Desktop, it's actually tracking the fact that I changed this file, and it's showing me what changes I made. And then it is asking me to do a commit. So if I change one file, it will kind of autofill a commit. If I change multiple files, I am required to put in a commit message. So I'm actually just going to put in a commit message right now. So I said added sentence to contact post. All right. And then once I say commit to master, that commits to my local repository, but then I need to push to GitHub. So I can say push origin after that. And then it will actually connect to GitHub, synchronize the two repositories, and then my changes would have been submitted. So when I go back to GitHub, if I simply refresh the repository page, then you're going to see added sentence to contact post. So every change that you make locally, you want to synchronize it with GitHub so that GitHub always has visibility of your latest code. And once again, if your machine crashes, then you have a backup somewhere on the cloud. That another advantage to this is that when you're working as a team, you can keep track of what each person is doing. So it will show you the commits, and it will show you, and you're expected to put in a descriptive commit code inside of this, inside of each commit. Try and be detailed in your summary. You don't have to write an essay, but at least somebody should come along and have an appreciation of what it is you did to the page or to the files that you have changed. All right. So after we've set up the repository, then over on Netlify, and I'm just going to log in. From here, we can see all of the websites. So maybe you'll get to a place where you don't have any sites. I have a few sites, some experimental, and one is actually my personal website, trevorwilliams.com. But then I need this new site that I'm creating, my personal website. I want it to be hosted by Netlify. So I have two options, actually. They will give me a section where I can drag and drop the files or the folder. So it will say drag and drop your site folder here. So literally, I can go over to the website on my computer and drag it and drop it in that section, and then Netlify will just take it and host it. That's option one. The problem with option one now is that every time I make a change to my local files, I'm going to have to remember that I need to drag and drop the updates over to Netlify. And so that, if I forget to do that, I can run into problems. So if we are diligent with our source control, meaning every time we make a change, we check it into GitHub, Netlify allows us to connect to a GitHub repository and deploy it. So you can see that my website deploys from GitHub, which means when I make a change to my website, I simply check in my changes to GitHub, and Netlify automatically goes, retrieves those changes, and then updates the website automatically. So with our website that we've just added to GitHub, what I'm going to do is say new site from Git. Then they're going to ask which GitHub provider or which Git provider we want. So you have a few. We have GitHub, Lab, and Bitbucket. But we know we just signed up with GitHub, so we just select GitHub, and then maybe we'll prompt you to sign in. So I'm already authorized because I'm signed in already. If you're using the same browser, then you won't have to go through that. And then they're going to ask, which one of these repositories would you like to synchronize with? So like I said, I have quite a few. You might just have one or few, but the point is that you should have the one that we just created, and mine is my personal website. So by clicking that, it will then show me, okay, you have, it will show you some stuff. I'm not going to get into the details of that right now. Just know that you really don't need to change anything on this screen, and you can just say deploy site. Now, once that is done, and it really took about 30 seconds to finish, then you'll be given a link or a URL to your site. Netlify allows you to set up a custom domain. So they give you a default domain. They allow you to set up a custom domain, which is how I got trevorwilliams.com instead of some link.netlify.com. All right. So if it is that you really want a personal website, www.yourname.com, then you can actually go here, but then that's going to cost money because you have to buy the domain. So the hosting is free because the files are being hosted and broadcast to the internet, but then a custom domain or a custom name will cost some money. All right. So I can click this link, I can follow that link, and it will navigate to my newly uploaded website with everything that I have added to it. And, it's there for the world. So I can share this link with everybody in the world, and they will just be able to click it and see my creation. All right. Now you can see that it's rather random. Serene dash, I don't know what those words are, and then some alphanumeric combination afterwards. You probably don't want it to be that complicated, right? So you can actually go to site settings, and then you see a setting that says change site name, and then that allows you to change the name. So you can actually put in your name like Trevoir dash, or let me take out the dash, Trevoir Williams dash website, right? So I'm encouraging you that after doing all of these things, you've built the personal website, whatever activities we've done up until this point, you put it on GitHub, you publish it on Netlify, and then you just call it your name dash website, right? And if that is taken, because obviously you can't have two websites or two Netlify sites with the same name, then you can just put like a 1 or something just to distinguish it from the existing one that somebody else may have taken. All right. So you just say Trevoir Williams dash website, and then you click save. Then it will update that URL. So now my URL to my personal website is trevorwilliams-website.netlify.com. So if I refresh Serene Jolet, it will say not found because that's no longer the name. And then if I click the new name, then it will navigate as expected. So please complete all of these activities. I mean, it was a learning experience. Now you've learned how to build a website from scratch. You've learned how to add it to source control, and you've learned how to deploy it to the internet, and especially using continuous development, because like I said, each time you check in changes to GitHub, Netlify will in the background automatically go and fetch those changes from GitHub and update your site accordingly, right? So I'm encouraging you, complete these activities, rename your site accordingly, and share the link with me. I share both the Netlify link and the GitHub repository link so that, if you want any feedback, I can help you through it and we can all go on this journey together.